The New England Patriots are quietly cooking something special, and while they're getting sharper, more focused, and more disciplined, the Miami Dolphins seem to be unraveling before our eyes. The contrast between these two AFC East teams couldn't be more striking right now. On one side, you've got a Patriots organization that's tightening things up, cleaning house, and embracing a new era of accountability and structure. On the other, you've got the Dolphins, talented, flashy, full of star power, but clearly dealing with a growing internal mess that might be rotting them from the inside out. Let's get right into it. This whole situation with Jalen Ramsey is turning into a full-blown soap opera. If you haven't been following the story, here's the gist of it. There's been tension brewing between Ramsey and the Dolphins for a while now, and the latest reports suggest that the team actually told him to go out and seek a trade. Yes, a trade. We're talking about one of the most talented cornerbacks in the league, a Super Bowl winner, a guy with a massive contract, and they're basically saying, we're done here. And it's not just about the money. Sure, the Dolphins owe him a lot, close to $50 million in guaranteed money, but this runs deeper than cap space. The word on the street is that there's some serious beef between Ramsey and head coach Mike McDaniel. Allegedly, they're not on speaking terms. There's no respect there. Ramsey doesn't vibe with the coaching staff, and the coaching staff seems ready to move on. If that's true, it speaks volumes about the inner workings of that locker room. Because when your veteran stars are clashing with your head coach, something's broken. Now, there are rumors floating around that Ramsey could return to the Rams, where he won a Super Bowl and was clearly more comfortable. The Rams, by the way, have multiple first-round picks in the next couple of years. So the pieces are there if they really want to make a move. Another team supposedly in the mix? Washington. Yep, the Commanders, or as some people like to call them, the Commies. Either way, we'll see if they're serious. The bigger question, though, is who's willing to absorb that contract. Ramsey's not exactly on a rookie deal anymore. We're talking about a 31-year-old corner with a massive price tag and some baggage. That's not an easy sell. But whether or not he gets traded, the real takeaway here is that Miami's dysfunction is bubbling to the surface. And that's exactly the kind of thing the Patriots should be licking their chops over. Look, when a team is losing a player of Ramsey's caliber, especially not because of performance, but because of internal drama, that's a red flag. A massive one. It's not just about losing talent, it's about revealing cracks in the foundation. Think back to last season. You could already sense that Miami wasn't exactly a well-oiled machine. There were flashes of brilliance, sure. Tua looked sharp at times. Tyreek Hill put up ridiculous numbers. The defense had moments of dominance, but something always felt off. And now, with all this noise surrounding Ramsey, it's becoming clearer that there's a leadership issue in that building. There's a culture problem, the kind that doesn't just go away when the regular season kicks off. Meanwhile, over in New England, things are moving in the opposite direction. You can say what you want about how last season went for the Patriots. It wasn't pretty. But when you listen to what players are saying now, guys like Christian Gonzalez talking about how much more serious the program has become since Mike Vrabel got involved, it tells you everything you need to know. This team is locking in. They're setting a new tone. There's accountability, there's structure, there's no time for drama. And that's what separates the great franchises from the ones that just look good on paper. You can have all the talent in the world, but if the locker room is fractured, if the players don't respect the coaches, if egos are running wild, then it's only a matter of time before it all blows up. And right now, Miami looks like it's heading straight for that kind of explosion. Look, I know some Dolphins fans might push back on this. You might say, come on, Ramsey's just one guy, or you're reading too much into rumors, Lice. But let's not pretend this is happening in a vacuum. This isn't the first time we've seen turmoil in that building. Think back to the Tyreek Hill drama from last offseason. Now, to be fair, things seem fine with him at the moment. There's plenty of hype coming out of camp about how he's looking better than ever, poised for another monster year. And maybe that's true. Maybe Tyreek's going to go off and carry this offense on his back. But what happens if the team starts slow? What happens if the offense stumbles out of the gate? Or if injuries start piling up again? Are we going to see the same kind of cracks start to appear? Because it's easy to put on a good face in May or June. That's the off-season honeymoon phase, when every team is undefeated, every player is in the best shape of their life, and every coach is a genius. But when the pads go on and the losses start coming, that's when the truth comes out. And if the Dolphins are already dealing with this kind of tension in the summer, what's going to happen when the pressure really ramps up? And listen, I'm not rooting for Mike McDaniel to fail. That's not what this is about. I actually think he's got a brilliant football mind, and he's brought a lot of innovation to that offense. But at the end of the day, being a head coach in the NFL is about more than just drawing up plays. It's about leadership. It's about managing personalities, setting the tone, keeping the locker room together. And right now, it doesn't look like that's happening in Miami. Not with Ramsey reportedly at odds with the coaching staff, not with trade rumors swirling, not with whispers about discontent behind the scenes. Contrast that with what we're seeing in New England. Yeah, the Patriots have their own roster questions. They're not perfect, but what they do have is a sense of direction. They're building something. They're cutting dead weight, bringing in new voices, holding players accountable. There's a sense that this is a program with a plan that's not dependent on any one player, not built around hype or headlines, but rooted in discipline and structure. And that matters, especially in a division that's only getting tougher. The Bills are still a threat. The Jets, depending on what happens with their quarterback situation, could make some noise. But if Miami keeps tripping over its own shoelaces, they're going to be the odd team out. Because talent alone doesn't win you games in this league. Stability does. Chemistry does. Culture does. That's why this Ramsey situation is so significant. It's not just a contract dispute. It's a window into what's really happening behind the scenes. And for the Patriots, it's a golden opportunity, an opening, while Miami is distracted trying to put out fires and manage egos. New England can keep building, keep developing their young talent, and stay focused on football. The kind of focus that wins games in December. The kind of focus that gets you back into playoff contention. So yeah, call me biased if you want. Say I'm just a Patriots fan taking shots at a division rival. But look at the facts. Look at the headlines. Look at the trajectory of both teams. One is cleaning house and moving forward. The other is stuck in the mud, clinging to stars who don't want to be there, and led by a coach who might not have the locker room anymore. And maybe Ramsey does stay in Miami. Maybe they patch things up, smooth it over, and he ends up balling out in a Dolphins jersey this season. But even if that happens, the damage is already done. Because now we know what kind of storm is brewing behind closed doors. And once that kind of dysfunction sets in, it's hard to shake it off. It lingers, it festers. And when the going gets tough, it's the kind of thing that can sink a season. So what do you think? Is this just off-season noise? Or is it a sign of deeper issues in Miami? Is Jalen Ramsey done with the Dolphins? Or do they somehow convince him to stay? Let me know what you think, because from where I'm standing, this looks like great news for New England. A team that's been quietly recalibrating, staying under the radar, and now has a real chance to take advantage of the chaos happening down south. Now let's shift gears and talk about a guy who's been at the center of some real emotional debate among Patriots fans. Kendrick Bourne. There's something about this dude that makes people root for him. Maybe it's the way he carries himself. Always upbeat. Always with a positive attitude. Or maybe it's because he feels like one of those guys who never got a fair shot. But no matter what side you're on, whether you're a diehard Bourne believer or one of those people saying it's time to move on, you have to admit the conversation around him is heating up fast. Let's rewind a bit. Bourne came into New England and made an impact right away. Fans fell in love with his energy, his ability to make clutch catches, and the way he just seemed to bring some life into an offense that desperately needed it. But then last season happened. Injuries, inconsistency, and a torn ACL late in the year pretty much derailed any momentum he had. He went from a potential breakout candidate to an afterthought, and now here we are staring down another season with a crowded wide receiver room and big question marks surrounding his future. Here's the harsh reality. This receiver room in New England is stacked. Not necessarily stacked with proven elite talent, but stacked in the sense that there are a lot of names, a lot of young guys, and a lot of potential. They brought in new faces. They've got speedsters, big body targets, possession receivers, and utility guys. And that's before you even talk about someone like Stephon Diggs. Yes, Diggs, who has joined the mix and changed the dynamic completely. Then you've got Pop Douglas, a rising name that people inside the building are really excited about, and Kyle Williams, another young receiver looking to break out and make his name known. So when you start adding up all those pieces, you have to ask yourself, is there really a spot left for Kendrick Bourne? Now I'll be real with you. I want this guy to succeed. I want to believe in the comeback story. I want to believe that someone who's worked as hard as Bourne and stayed as humble as he has can fight through the injuries and show everyone he's still got it. But the NFL is a cold business, and the numbers don't lie. If you look at his contract, it's manageable, not outrageous by any means. He's set to make just over $24 million a year. And if he would be released after June 1st, the dead cap hit would be just under $1.5 million. That's not a backbreaker. It's very doable, which means if the team feels like he's not 100% or that he's not going to climb the depth chart, they can move on pretty painlessly. And let's talk about trade value. If Bourne gets moved, don't expect anything crazy in return. We're talking about a late round pick at best. Probably a 6th or 7th rounder, maybe even a conditional pick depending on how he performs. That's just the reality when a guy is coming off a major injury and hasn't put together a full season in a while. It's not that teams don't like Bourne, it's that the risk outweighs the reward at this stage in his career. But then again, maybe we're counting him out too soon. Maybe this is exactly the kind of adversity that brings out the best in him. Remember, he told Josh McDaniels once, "Believe in me." That's the kind of attitude you want on your roster. A guy who isn't afraid to say, "I've got more in the tank. Don't give up on me yet." And when you think about how other players have bounced back from ACL injuries, guys like Stephon Diggs, for instance, you start to wonder, could Bourne pull it off too? The problem is opportunity. In a room this crowded, you've got to stand out fast. There's no time to ease back in or wait until mid-season to hit your stride. Training camp, preseason, early reps, those are make or break moments for someone. Like Bourne, he has to show that he's not just healthy but explosive, that he's still a threat, that he can separate, get open, and make big plays like he used to. Otherwise, it's going to be hard to justify keeping him around when younger, cheaper, and healthier options are waiting in the wings. So, what do I think happens? Honestly, I think the writing is on the wall. I think Kendrick Bourne is either getting cut or traded before the season starts. I hate to say it because, again, and I like the guy. I love what he brought to the team in his early days. But football moves fast. Rosters turn over. And if the Patriots are serious about building something fresh, something fast and dangerous, I don't know if Bourne fits into that picture anymore. But hey, I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. Maybe Bourne shocks everybody and puts together a comeback season for the ages. Maybe he finds that extra gear and forces the coaches to keep him on the field. And if that happens, I'll be the first one to celebrate. I'll be the first to say I doubted the guy and he proved me wrong. Because that's the kind of story fans love. The kind that reminds us that in this league, anything can happen. So what about you? Are you still holding out hope for Kendrick Bourne? Do you think he's got another run in him? Or is this the end of the line? Drop your thoughts, because one thing's for sure. This wide receiver battle is going to be one of the most intense storylines to watch heading into the new season. And whatever happens, it's going to say a lot about where the Patriots are headed and what kind of team they want to be. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to Patriots Hub and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest updates on our New England Patriots. And don't be shy. Share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. In a development that's lighting up the NFL rumor mill, whispers from league insiders suggest that TJ Watt, one of the most dominant defensive forces of his generation, could be heading to Foxborough. According to sources close to the situation, Watt has allegedly chosen the New England Patriots as his next destination, with talks centered around a staggering 3-year contract reportedly valued at over $1 billion. While neither Watt's camp nor the Patriots organization has officially confirmed the move, the buzz has been impossible to ignore. The Steelers star, known for his relentless pass rush and game-changing presence on defense, has long been a franchise cornerstone in Pittsburgh. However, with recent hints of discontent and a desire for a fresh challenge, speculation has been mounting that the 2021 Defensive Player of the Year might be seeking new horizons, and few destinations carry the legacy and mystique of New England. The reported contract value, if accurate, would shatter existing salary norms and signal an aggressive new era for the Patriots. It's no secret that New England has been in search of a marquee defensive leader, to rebuild its dynastic ambitions under head coach Bill Belichick, who is rumored to have personally pushed for the Watt acquisition. Analysts are divided on the feasibility of such a deal, with some questioning the financial logistics, while others point to a potential restructuring of key contracts to make room for Watt's mega deal. There's also chatter that major endorsement partnerships could be woven into the contract, which might explain the astronomical figure being tossed around behind closed doors. Fans in both Pittsburgh and New England are holding their breath watching social media and flight trackers with obsessive curiosity. Could this be the dawn of a new chapter for TJ Watt and the Patriots? Or is this merely another off-season smokescreen in the high-stakes world of NFL negotiations? For now, all eyes remain on Foxborough as the league waits for the next domino to fall. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our New England Patriots, be sure to subscribe to Patriots Hub and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.